So today's President's Day, and yet it's really still just kind of another work day for a good portion of us, you know. Uh, but happy President's Day if you are honoring it. And we're still coming on to do our real estate unfiltered conversation. And today is actually, we wanted to just kind of talk about tapping into your brokerage and making sure that you're, putting yourself out there, getting the resources that you need to do your job correctly.
Right, because this is something that comes up obviously for me a lot, and it's frustrating because most of the things that my agents come to me for, they have a resource for, right? There's something out there that will help them or, navigate them. And 9 out of 10 times it's because they're just not plugged in. And we are going to talk about this deeper. So I'm not going to go into cloud brokerage in this conversation because we are going to talk about this on another level on our mastermind this week. So if you want to know more information, there's our plug to tap into that.
Mhm.
But it's especially important to plug in if you are in a cloud brokerage because you don't have an office that you're going to that someone is like at that front desk giving you like the rundown of what's going on. There's not like a bulletin board or, you know, everyday classes that are in your face in the office. So it's important that you're checking your emails. And for us, we have kind of like a Facebook community. It's called Work Vivo, but it's like a Facebook community for our office or this state of Georgia, which is like our office space. And so most, in my experience, brokerages have resources, especially if you have office fees. There are a lot of brokerages that are transactional based that may only charge a low fee and they don't have a whole lot of resources. But I can say for the majority, the major hitters out there are going to have a ton of resources that you should be plugging into. I mean, when I talk about education, we're not just talking about like business education. A lot of them offer CE credits, and CE on top of that, our MLS has a lot of free online options for CE credits. So that's Georgia MLS because,
Yeah.
as y'all know, I'm in Georgia. So I don't know about
Connecticut,
others.
Connecticut don't do free for CE, but it's not expensive. I mean, it's usually 15, 20, 25 bucks, I think, a class, something
Yeah,
like that for CE credits. Yeah.
yeah. So, but in the grand scheme of things, look at what you guys are being offered already before you start, hashing out that money because we all know that we're balling on a budget most of the time, right? We
Right.
want to watch our pennies so we can spend it where we want to spend it. And so that's what this is really about is utilizing your resources to save you money. And yes, I'm even saying like don't make the mistakes that are going to cause you money. So if you do have a broker line, utilize your broker line. If you are just like, I don't know how to handle this before you handle it and then you need to, help fixing it, call your broker line or support line or whatever resource you do have, but know what that is so that you are not running around like a chicken with your head cut off on a Saturday morning trying to figure it all out by yourself on an island and then honestly either costing yourself money or your client money. So,
Right. I want to take it before that. So this is going to be on behalf of Carissa and all the other brokers out there because I actually have a good relationship with the broker in our office because our team is very compliant, right? We do our paperwork. It's not perfect 100% of the time, but for the most part, if they see a file come through with us, like they're breathing a sigh of relief, right? And the point is though that we show up for the classes, right? So if like does your brokerage, right, have like a training calendar or something every month that even if it's one training a month, some do a training a week, some multiple trainings a week, right? I don't think you should show up for everything, but look at your time, look at your schedule. Like, can you dedicate time to have training in your schedule every week or every month that makes sense for you? I don't care if you've been licensed for 20 years. There's always new things that you can and should be learning to help grow in your business, right? But like contracts, like, on broker, don't call me about how to fill in your contract the day that you finally want to put in an offer if we've done 5 contracts class this month and you just chose not to show up to any of them. Do you know what I mean? So those are some of the kinds of things where I see it happen in real time with agents are like, well, I don't know how to fill in Is it that you don't know how to fill it in because you didn't show up to all the trainings, or did you not ask questions at the trainings, or is it just the timing and maybe there truly wasn't a training offered, right? Since if it's a newer agent or something of that nature, right? One of those can potentially be true. A lot of the time, it's they didn't show up or they didn't ask enough questions. And so a broker should not be your on-call, like that's not what they're there for, right? Like they're not your personal coach, they're not your personal assistant. Just like a coach is not your personal assistant, right? You want to use them as a resource, but that's kind of part of why we're saying like tap into the brokerage, not just the broker. Like Carissa's a broker, right? But she's not there to be your legal emergency dial last minute, right? But she is there to say, hey, like maybe there's a newsletter or something, and there's some classes that are coming up, maybe a class with a lender, whatever it might be, and making options available, right? So to use James Shaw, his analogy, it's a buffet. So your brokerage hopefully is offering you a buffet of classes, but you have to pay attention to the ones that are must-haves and then the ones that are nice to haves. So like if it's like a class about FISBOs, for sale by owners, and that's not really a part of your business, then that's a nice to show up for. Maybe they're going to have some mega agent who crushes it that you want to hear from and learn from. And if you have the time, then great, go attend it. But don't sacrifice like important business to do something like that. And yet, if it is like a contracts class, or if it is updating you on new laws in your state that are relevant for your business, those kinds of things shouldn't be optional as much as possible, right? Those are the things that you should prioritize.
Yes, and that's kind of how I used to do it when I would be on the team. I would print out at the time I was with Keller Williams and we had a lot of in-person trainings. We were very heavy. Our office was amazing like that. And so I know that it can get, what is that? The analysis paralysis because they see all of
Right.
this stuff on there and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So you have those agents that either go to everything and have no production because they're always in classes, or you have agents that don't know what to choose, so they get overwhelmed and don't go to anything. So I used to highlight for them, hey, if you had to choose two, because I used to ask them to at least, I can't make them, but I would ask them plug into at least two classes a month, right? Doesn't have to be all day classes. They could be the hour, 30-minute, whatever it was. But I would highlight the ones that I would recommend from my past experience, and or sit with them and say, where is your business going, so I can help navigate you. And I would and I can do the same thing right now. If agents tapped in, I would absolutely say, hey, this is an amazing class for you to go to. As the broker, I would recommend this. I same as Josie, if you have a contracts class, you can never sit in a contracts class too much. That's all I'm going to say, because you will win 10 out of 10 times for your client if you can outcontract the other side. And it's not a competition, but when it comes down to it's not a problem
Knowledge.
till it's a problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
you always want to have the upper hand. And I am all about how do we navigate through this contract to benefit your client. And the only way you do that is if you understand it from both perspectives, because you're going to have somebody who's arguing back another angle. So it's your job to be able to position your client in a better light that it makes sense. And so absolutely, 100%. If you can be in, multiple contracts classes a year, do that for yourself, because I swear to you, I take something for every class I take. Literally, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have a 10-page contract. So clearly things change and I just hit on a new thing and I'm like, I did not know that, right? So, I say all this to say you guys have the resources. We are, as brokers and as ops managers and admins and TCs, we are not here to like just be available at your beck and call, which I know that's hard to hear because you're like, oh, yes, you are, because you're my broker and you're my assistant and you're this. But you have to understand, like, I love that you have the laugh, because I am like, it makes me cringe inside a little bit, because It
No, I laugh because it's so true.
Yes, and I know
And
that's
I hear it a
exactly
lot from
yes,
brokers or
yes, because
team
it's
leaders and, office
yeah,
managers, like all of those titles, because it's
and
true.
it's because it becomes that, your lack of urgency is not my emergency. So therefore, if you're
Right.
not being proactive and plugging into the things and the resources you have, like Josie said just a couple minutes ago, don't expect like everybody to jump through loops, hoops, and fire because you didn't do what you needed to do during the time that was allotted. Meanwhile, your assistant, your director of ops, your broker has been available for questioning from 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. Now it's Saturday morning, 8:30, and you have this emergency and you're calling everybody to get it handled. But yet I'm with my kids at the soccer field. And so that's where you have to understand is like you have to be respectful of people's times, especially if the product is out there for you and you just didn't get it. So I am encouraging you and empowering you to own your business and take charge because nobody is coming to save you. Not one person cares more about your business than you. I don't care how much your broker or your assistant or your director of ops says, like, I care about this more. There is no way in hell that anybody cares about your business more than you care about it because it's your business. It's your dream and you're bringing it to fruition. So we expect you to put in the work and plug in no matter where you are in the business, even if you're ops. I'm talking to y'all ops people too, right? Because there's plenty of education and resources out there for you as well. So
Mhm.
the saying I don't know is not even an option anymore.
Right. With the ops, and I've seen this fail, right? This is how I've seen a lot of admins fail in our office that have worked for other realtors. You do need to give them the breathing room, the leeway to attend those classes and trainings as well, right? Like, yes, you want your ops to be doing whatever it is that they need to do for your business, but if you also don't give them resources and avenues to grow themselves and their skill set, then you're doing them a disservice, right? So if there is a training, even if it's not in their wheelhouse, it can still be beneficial for them to learn. Like I can outscript a lot of agents and I don't need to know scripts. Like I don't go on listing and buyer consultations, but I'm very comfortable having those conversations, right? Because I've attended different trainings and classes over the course of my career. Um, Another thing I was going to say is making sure that you know how to ask the questions. You may not know, you don't know what you don't know. Ask your broker, ask a mentor. This is a good reason to have a mentor, not just rely on the broker. Excuse me, but have a mentor who maybe they are okay with you calling them 8:30 on a Saturday for that emergency question. I can't stop coughing.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
so no,
Um,
if you want me to finish, I kind of get where you're going with it, but
yes, and the only other thing I was going to add that you can talk about was the leadership growth journal, which has the questions in there.
yes. So tap into that free leadership growth journal. Oh, not free. It's not free. Sorry guys, I lied. It is, I think it's super inexpensive. How much is it? I don't
It's
even
like
know.
7.99,
Yeah,
I think.
on our resource hub because it does have the prompts in there and the spots for you to kind of track of what you're doing, ask better questions so you get better answers. We just talked about that last week is with our buyers consults is like everything we do, if we're just refining what we do, we get better every day. And so yes, you might have just gotten out of real estate school, passed your test, and now you're on this brokerage. And I swear to you, if you do not, if you have no experience and you don't have a mentor, coach, and or join a team, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I know that's a hard pill to digest as an agent because you're like, oh my God, I got to give 20% to my mentor and then split with my office. And then if you're on a team, it's typically, I mean, they're all different, but like I'm just going to go off the middle ground,
Mhm.
50-50 split. And you're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I got to give up this. But what you have to understand is they are going to help you get to the prize faster, right? So it's like a speed pass. You're going to pay for that speed pass, but you're not standing at Disney World on the line for 4 hours to get on one ride. Now you spend $300 to get into the park and you got to do 3 rides all day long. Meanwhile, I paid for the speed pass and I got on 12 rides and I'm happy go lucky because yes, I paid for it. However, I got to experience what I was there to experience. So that's the
Listen,
only analogy I can give you guys is not everybody
I
wants
love
to
a
pay for
good
the speed
fast
pass.
pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Not everybody wants to pay for it because they're like, I just don't see the value in it. But if you're okay with doing one transaction a year, cool. Do you, boo. But what I'm saying is if you link up with the right mentor, the right coach, or the right team off the gate, you are going to get that speed pass where you are closing multiple transactions and not
Right.
just one.
Right. Or the right community. Because some mentors are free, right? You just build that relationship. Some communities are free, like our community. You could be part of our real estate operations where the Facebook group is a free Facebook group. We do a free monthly mastermind. We have a whole free resources page on our website, right? There's others similar to us where you can get free resources. There's the Pivot Shift Ahead community, for example, that has some free resources. And then there are also communities that have like a small, maybe paid membership, or there is, like she said, coaching and things of that nature where you can go deeper, right? So that was kind of the point of saying start with your brokerage first, right? Tap into the classes and things that they might have available for you there. Ask your broker or office manager or whatever about maybe there are like what types of classes, if you're a new agent especially, like should I be doing to help launch my business. And if you're an experienced agent that hasn't plugged in a while, I still think it's a great question to go back to them. Maybe there's something that you don't realize, like are they offering AI classes now for you, for example, in your brokerage, or are they offering, how to build strong teams or something like that that might be helpful for someone who is a more, top producing type of agent. So just kind of keeping your eyes open for those things and then just plugging into them. That was really the point of today's conversation. And
Yep.
then just kind of taking that personal ownership
I
in your
literally took the
role.
word, I swear, took the words. I was literally just going to say the exact
'Cause
same
we're here,
thing. Is
bestie.
like, is that right there? If you took anything away from this conversation today, is you have to show up for you. You have to own it. You have to understand that even if you chose the wrong brokerage and you're like, oh my God, they offer me nothing. They're crap, and that's why my business is crap, and blah 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 blah. You chose it. So the only thing that you can control is you. I say that all, I just said it to Josie before we got it. Only thing I can control is me and how much I let things stress me out. And when I make a decision to make a move, that's on me, right? So same with y'all. Own it.
Absolutely. And I think the one thing I'd say is if your brokerage does not currently have offerings, right, doesn't mean that maybe they can't though. So maybe it's something that you start or you bring to their attention. Hey, I've heard of these free classes, or I've heard of these, maybe they're not free, whatever, but I've heard of these trainings that I think would be great if we offered them too, and just share the idea. Like that's all you can do. And then ultimately at the end of the day, if you're not getting what you need from where you are, then you have the ability to look elsewhere, right?
Yep.
But don't be afraid to speak up. Okay?
Right. And don't be afraid to ask the questions before you make the move though, guys. That is a big thing is like you might not think you have everything you need. But you can be great anywhere. So figure out where your space is and what the offerings are that help elevate your business and then make, the best decision. But don't just jump ship because you haven't tapped in. Tap in first, and then if it's not what you need, at that point you have enough evidence that it's not working and you can figure out what the next move would be.
Perfect advice. And on that note, we're gonna kick it and we will be back next Monday. So hoping that you guys enjoy the rest of your President's Day and the rest of the week.
See y'all later.
Bye, guys.